How do you get out of a franchise? I'm Doug Luther with Luther Leonard, a franchisee lawyer. Get out of a franchise can be a complicated task. You've got a term in a franchise agreement, and that term is typically 5, 10, 15, or even 20 years. And that means if you're closing the franchise early, you're oftentimes breaching that franchise agreement. You also, if you're a restaurant, you may have a lease, and you may have to get out of that lease early. Or if you have a lender, you often have to deal with the lender and the debt and maybe refinancing or restructuring that debt. When you're closing a franchise, we're often looking at a three-front battle or issue with the landlord, the lender, and the franchisor. Now, with regard to the franchisor, in some limited circumstances, you may have a right to just terminate that franchise agreement by providing notice. But most of the time, there's no such termination right that a franchisee has, meaning that the franchisee is breaching the agreement and potentially owes future royalties and or liquidated damages to close that franchise early. So with a franchise agreement, typically to close early, you're looking at 1 year, 2 years, or even 3 years of royalties as the cost to exit. Now, some franchisors are willing to walk away from that. They will work with you on a mutual termination agreement and not seek any money to close. Other franchisors will demand that money and will come after you potentially if you close, which can be very difficult because you as a franchisee may already be struggling, may already be losing money, and that's why you're looking to close early. And so in those circumstances, it's important to speak with an attorney to see what the repercussions are, but also to see, do you have any leverage against the franchisor? Did the franchisor commit fraud, deceptive trade practices act? Did they violate some franchise laws? Did they breach the franchise agreement themselves? Because if the franchisor did that, then that means you have legal leverage against the franchisor. And that leverage can be used to either reduce or completely get rid of any liquidated damages or future royalties you may owe. And in fact, in a lot of circumstances, it means that you might get money from the franchisor, and that can be very helpful for getting out of the lease and for paying back your lender in those circumstances. So before you take the action to close that franchise, make sure that you've checked what the franchise agreement says, spoken with an attorney, and know what the repercussions are before you take those actions. If you have any questions or would like to discuss, please refer to our contact information in the description below. And if you found this content helpful, please like or subscribe to our channel.